Hello, Marcus Boston. Quick video today, and what we're going to discuss is how would you know if medical malpractice was the cause of your baby's traumatic brain injury at birth, say HIE or hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy. It's not like the doctor that's actually doing the delivery is going to come out and say, hey, you know what, family? I committed medical malpractice and that's why your baby has suffered a brain injury. Not going to see it that way. And so the reason why I want to talk with you about this is because this is actually a question that came up on another video that I just did, in which I was giving some pro tips to families when a lawyer is suggested to them by either other family members or friends. And so this is just the progression from that video. And so what I would like to help you understand in two big areas that we're going to talk about today. The first one is paying attention to the nurses in other departments, namely the NICU. Really pay attention to what they're telling you. In some cases, what we will have is a family will contact us and they'll tell us that we were talking to a particular nurse. Usually not going to tell us a name, but they'll say we're talking to a particular nurse, and this nurse told us that we should reach out for help. We should talk with an attorney on this, and then they will go and do their homework, and that's how they would know to speak to an attorney. So the first one is really pay attention, because sometimes the nurses can tip you off as to what was going on or whether you should contact a medical malpractice attorney to get help with determining whether malpractice is what's caused the injury or the harm. The second one is, if you are going through everything and you're talking to the doctors and the medical professionals and they tell you that genetics is not the cause, or they cannot find a genetic connection to the injury, and they cannot find a developmental connection to the injury, so there's no genetics and there are no developmental problems, that might be a tip-off that medical malpractice may have been the cause of the injury or the harm. Birth trauma may have been the cause. And so if you have no genetics and you have no developmental, that is the second point that I would like to make with you. Those two things today that we talked about, either a nurse and another, paying attention to the nurses in other departments, and if you do not have a genetic and you have no developmental issues that are there causing the injury, then these things might strongly suggest that you should at least reach out to a birth trauma attorney to get some help in trying to determine whether medical malpractice was the cause of the injury. Now, when you speak with a birth trauma attorney like myself, we're going to do an investigation and we're going to look at certain things. We're going to look at the readings on the electronic fetal heart monitor. We're going to be looking at patterns. We're going to interview you and talk with you about what was going on. Was your pregnancy uneventful? Were you dealing with preeclampsia? Did you have gestational diabetes? A whole host of other things that we will do in our investigation, and that will go a long ways in helping you be able to understand, and of course, speaking with the necessary medical experts to get an idea as to what's going on. And all of these things together will allow us to be able to help you get a better idea as to whether medical malpractice was the cause of your baby's traumatic brain injury at birth. I know I talked about a lot in this video today, but I'm trying to help you understand these crucial issues when you are looking for answers. More than likely, you're watching this video right now because your baby has suffered a traumatic brain injury at birth like HIE, or maybe you have an HIE diagnosis and now you have a subsequent cerebral palsy or CP diagnosis. And look, let's face it, you have questions. If that is you, there is a telephone number on the screen. What I invite you to do is to pick up the phone and call me. I speak with families like yours about these types of issues all the time. It costs you absolutely nothing initially to talk with me about what's going on. This is what we do. I would love to hear your baby story. When you call, I want to remind you, tell my secretary that you would like to get on the calendar. You would like to get on our calendar. And when you do that, be sure to pick a date and a time. That is extremely important. Now, How many times people will call or they'll leave messages and they won't say a date or they won't say a time. So make sure that you pick a date and a time so we can work everything out. Before I get out of here, I want to make sure that you understand I practice law in the state of Maryland. That's where I practice law. But from time to time, we have individuals, they still will reach out to us. If you are that person and you're not in Maryland and you reach out, just understand that we have to use what we call co-counsel or local counsel. In other words, an attorney in your state. And that's something that we can work with you on, but I just want to make sure that you understand that co-counsel or local counsel aspect of things. All right, that's going to be it for today's quick educational video. Again, I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm one of the childbirth injury and medical malpractice attorneys practicing law in the state of Maryland at Boston Law Group, LLC. We'll talk with you next time. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.